Hello everyone. This video is particularly for the mathematics research scholars who start writing their research paper. In this video, the required key points for the young researchers to start writing their mathematics research paper effectively is clearly explained. Okay, let's move on to the session.
Good afternoon.
Today I am going to give presentation on how to write the mathematics research paper effectively. See, generally, any research paper must consist of the following outlines: title of the paper, citation of the author, abstract, keywords, the AMS subject classification number which is assigned for every math paper. AMS expansion is American Mathematical Society. So later we see this in detail. And next, introduction part and main result. In the main result, we have to prove our theorem. And the remaining contents like lemma, observation, corollary, remark, if it is needed for the theorem, we have to provide it. Otherwise, it is optional. Similarly, adding acknowledgement is also an optional one. And finally, we give the references. Generally, any researcher start writing the paper first with the main result, since the main result is the core for the whole paper. So now let's see what are all the key features needed to complete the main result. First one, identification of problem, and the next, finding the solution to the identified problem, and finally we have to transform the solution into proper theorem in a generalized manner. See, now let's see what are the key points to identify our research problem. First, we have to choose the research topic, and then we have to study the background history of the topic. That is nothing but we have to do the literature survey on the topic. By doing the literature survey, either we can be able to find any open conjecture available on the topic, or you can generate any new unproved result. So by these ways we can identify our research problem, and thereby the identified problem will get hierarchy in the history of the topic. So regarding the literature survey, I want to share some few points. If you take many field of research, there will be a survey paper or review paper, but which will be only on specific topics. And mostly these survey papers are written by the PhD research scholars during their research period. And these survey papers are not dynamic. If you take any one survey paper and which had been published in the year 2015, and it will contain only the research results up to the year 2015 only. But if you take in our research area, there is an researcher come professor named J.A. Gallian, who is publishing every year a research paper, that is a survey paper. He is continuously doing this from the year 1996 to till date. So in this survey paper, we get all the research results published up to date, because throughout every year, whatever the research result was published throughout the world is updated by him every year. So he is really a gift to the researchers, those who are doing research in graph labeling area. So after we identified the research problem, we have to find the solution to the identified problem. And next, now let's see how to transform the solution into proper theorem in a generalized manner. See, there is a saying, you will be judged by how well you write, because nobody really knows how well you think. So writing is important. Writing is an art. See, in spite of your good idea or good thought or good proposed research, writing plays an important role. So now let's see how to convert all our ideas into proper writing. See, already I told, first we have to start writing the paper with the main result. So now how to begin our main result? So we have to begin our main result with theorem. What is theorem? Theorem is a statement of our research result, which is to be proved by us. Actually, theorem statement takes more important value because it helps the reader to understand the core idea of the paper. The statement of the theorem, it helps the reader to understand the core idea of the paper. So we have to make our theorem statement as much perfect and clear. Here I have given one of my research result as a theorem. That is, which states that almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph of any graph is cordial. See, even though this theorem statement is clear, as per the mathematics concerned, this theorem statement is in raw format. See, why I am saying this as raw format? Since the theorem statement does not contain any proper notations. What are the required notations? The same theorem statement here in this slide I have given by using the proper notation. Here you can see I gave the notation for the graph as G, and the notation G cap is used to denote the almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph. So generally notations play a very important role in writing of mathematics research paper, and the notations evolves over a long period of time. See, there is a saying, it is very difficult to change the horses in the midstream. Similarly, we cannot change the notation after some period. So always it is advisable, always we have to use the standard notations. And suppose if you want to introduce any new notation, and that new notations must be handled very carefully, and these new notations must have clarity, familiarity, and also it should be meaningful. See, here I have given some example for the notation. The nodes are called vertices, and I am denoting the vertices using the notation V1, V2, etc. And the line which connect the two vertices is called edge, and the edges are denoted by the notation E1, E2, etc. So the collection of all the vertices are put into the vertex set, which is given by the notation V of G. Similarly, the edge set is given by the notation E of G, and the number of vertices in the vertex set is given by the notation modulus of E of G. Similarly, modulus of E of G represents, which is the notation, this notation represents the number of edges in the set E of G. See, here you can see in the theorem statement, G is the standard notation which is adopted universally. But G cap is the notation introduced by us for this paper to denote this almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph. So now before we set foot into the proof of the theorem, we have to verify is there any other result required to prove our main result. For example, if any lemma or algorithm, if it is needed, first we have to provide that before proving our theorem. See, what is a lemma? Actually, lemma is a stepping stone on the path to prove our theorem, which is a minor result whose main purpose is to help in proving a theorem. And what is algorithm? Algorithm is a step-by-step procedure which takes some value or set of value as input and produces some value or set of value as output. See here, for this, to prove this theorem, I don't need any lemma, but I need an algorithm for the construction of the new graph called almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph. See, for this type of, in general, for this type of any new construction of the graph, we have to give algorithm. So now let's see how to write algorithm with an illustration. Here I consider the connected graph, and then we run the breadth first search algorithm for this connected graph. By the breadth first search algorithm, I am getting the ordering for vertices and edges, and now I replace every edge of the graph by a complete bipartite graph. After the replacement of all edges by the complete bipartite graph, the resultant graph thus obtained is called almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph. So now I constructed from the connected graph, I constructed the almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph. So you have to give that almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph is given denoted by the notation G cap. By the notation G cap. So we have to give the algorithm. What are all the step-by-step procedure we have seen in the figures that I have given as algorithm. Any connected graph is given as the input of the algorithm, and in these 3 steps I have given the construction procedure of GCAP, and as the output of the algorithm I am obtaining the almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph. Suppose if the graph G is disconnected, we have to run the same algorithm for each component separately to get the almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph. So thus we finished writing the theorem, lemma or algorithm, and now to start the proof. So generally proof is a valid argument that establishes the truth of the theorem. See, to write the proof of your research result, it is essential we have to know all the proof techniques available in math. See, some of the proof techniques I have listed here, that is direct proof, contrapositive proof, proof by contradiction, and if and only if methods, exhaustive proofs, uniqueness proof, proof by induction, vacuous proof, trivial proofs, and proof by cases. So for this theorem I am proving this theorem. To prove this theorem I adopted a method called proof by cases, which means that we have to consider all possible cases arises in the theorem. See, for this theorem, depend on the graph G, I have 2 cases. Case 1, G is the connected graph, and case 2, G is disconnected. So I have to prove my theorem for these 2 cases separately. So case 1, G is connected. I have to prove now the almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph G cap of any connected graph G is cordial. So already we have seen how to construct the almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph from the graph G. Now I have to assign the cordial labeling for this almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph. So for the convenience of assigning the cordial labeling to this graph, we define the purple color vertices. The purple color vertices as the base vertices and the yellow color vertices as non-base vertices. These base and non-base vertices are the new terminology we are introducing in this paper. So like this type of any new terminologies, if you want to introduce in the paper, that should be defined properly, those new terminologies. Here you have seen the base and non-base vertices are the new terminologies we are introducing. So that should be defined very perfectly. The definition should, because the definition plays a major role in writing of the mathematics research paper. Also, while taking the other normal writing, the math writing differs from the normal writing only by the definitions. So you have to write the definition of the research paper as the ultimate one. The definitions, it takes that much important role in the math research. So now again coming back to the case 1, that is how to prove the case 1. I am considering the steps. First I am giving the cordial labeling to the base vertices of G cap. See, here you have seen the base vertices. First I am giving the cordial labeling to the base vertices of G cap, and in the step 2 I am giving the cordial labeling to the non-base vertices of G cap. So here I have given the cordial labeling for the almost arbitrary supersubdivision graph, that is for the G cap. So now to check the cordiality condition, how to check I am checking the cordiality condition by using the equations. See here, the number of vertices labeled 0 is given by the equation 1, and the number of vertices labeled 1 I have given by the equation 2. So from equation 1 and 2 I am getting the number of vertices labeled 0 and 1 differ by 1. Similarly, I am getting the number of edges differ by 0 and 1 is differ by at most 1. So these cordial labeling, I am checking the cordial labeling conditions only through the equations. So you know now how much important the equations while writing the mathematics research papers. So the equations provide more precise way to get solution for the research problem. So similarly you can prove for the case 2. See, now also the abbreviations plays a major role in writing the research papers. We must avoid abbreviations in writing the research paper. See, normally we use frequently the abbreviations LHS, RHS, such that with respect to, that is, example, if and only if, while we are taking the class notes or and writing on the blackboards. Normally we use these type of abbreviations, but this should be avoided in writing the research paper. But some unavoidable situation, if you want to use abbreviation, see, for example, the term breadth first search algorithm, I want to use the abbreviated form, that is BFS, in order to save the space and the time. If you want to write the abbreviation in some unavoidable case, you can use it, but in the first appearance, that should be given with full explanation. Then in the many places you can use it as BFS, but this type of abbreviations must be avoided. And to bring the final draft of the main result, these are some key points. You have to check the logical flow, and also wherever you want to insert the tables, equations, figures, wherever necessary you want to insert, and the captions of, caption means the table 1, 2.1, like that, the captions of equations, tables, figures must be allotted carefully, and each case, steps and the section headings should be handled carefully. It is best to use simple and direct language which makes the reader to understand clearly. Math writing should be precise and conscious, and math writing always it should be in passive voice. Don't use the pronoun I while writing the math paper. We have to use we in writing research paper, because we refers to the writer and the reader. We get the result, we proved, like that. Always we have to use we, not I. Also, it is very much essential to do the proofread. And here, generally, corollary is a result which is naturally generated from the theorem, and whose proof trivially follows from the theorem. Here I have given the corollary for the considered theorem. And in the discussion part, you have to discuss how this research contribute to the field and why it is important, and also you can give any open problem in the discussion. And now let's see how to write the introduction part. Well written introduction set the tone for the paper. See, we should write the introduction after the completion of main result. And also in the introduction, we must provide the background information, and also we have to mention the importance of the research problem and what is currently known and what is lagging in the field, that should be discussed in the introduction part. And what are all the keywords we are using in the research paper, and those keywords, we have to give the definition for those keywords in the introduction part. And also we have to provide the context and the rationale of our work in the introduction. See, and the opening paragraph of the introduction will provide your reader with the initial impressions about the logic of your argument, your writing style, the overall quality of your research, and ultimately the validity of your finding and conclusion. The opening and the last paragraph of the introduction takes main role while writing the introduction. The last paragraph of the introduction is very important, since here we have to summarize the organization of the rest of the paper. The reader by the end of the introduction should know exactly what you are trying to achieve with the paper. In addition, your conclusion and discussion will refer back to the introduction. Now let's see how to write the abstract. So after the completion of the main result and the introduction, then you have to write the abstract. Many journals and in international conference, sometimes first we should submit the abstract, since on the basis of abstract only the referees will decide whether we can regarding the acceptance or the rejection of paper. Hence, abstract needs to contain enough information about the paper. Abstracts are usually a single paragraph which contains the words between 250 to 500 words. On the whole, an abstract is a concise and precise summary of the whole paper, which highlights the main points such as introduction, objective, methods, results, discussion and conclusion, and allows the reader to get clear picture of the paper. So keywords are the words that capture the essence of your paper. Keywords make your paper searchable and ensure that you get more citations. Therefore, it is important to include the most relevant keywords that will help authors to find your paper. Keywords should ideally be phrases of 2 to 4 words. For example, for this the considered theorem, I have used the keywords such as graph labeling, cordial graphs, arbitrary supersubdivision graph, almost arbitrary supersubdivision graphs. And AMS subject classification number. This number especially we are giving for all math papers. This number. The American Mathematical Society has divided all of mathematics into 97 primary classification areas and these into sub areas. Assigning the correct classification number to your paper is a reliable way to put your paper before the proper audience. It will also help to ensure that your paper is classified correctly. So the American Mathematical Society publishes an elegant little book which can be found in most mathematics libraries that lays out the AMS subject classification scheme. This information is readily available on the web page. Here you can find for graph labeling means they will give one subject number. For that subject, that AMS subject classification number should be mentioned in your paper. And title of the paper, the title of your paper should be informative. In a nutshell, this title tells the reader exactly what the paper is about and further what point it makes. Generally, title should have no more than 10 words. And also in the title you should not use any punctuation or acronyms. And citation of the author, here you have to give the details of all the authors, first author, second, who is the first author, second author, third author, that should be mentioned clearly. And the occupation, mail ID of each author should be mentioned in the citation. And acknowledgement, there is no standard format for writing the acknowledgement. The real purpose of acknowledgement is to acknowledge the help provided by any person, institute, society or funding agency in some way to carry out your research work. So finally, we have to write the reference. The reference page is the last page of an research paper. It lists all the sources you have found in the research paper. American Psychological Association provides the general format for the reference page. Here I have given the example. First we have to give the author name and then the initial should be at the end of the author name, and then the paper name and the journal name and the volume and next to the page number. In this format we have to give the references. And what are the quick checklists before submitting your paper? After finishing the first draft, to get the good refinement, do the revision minimum of 5 times. Again if you read, we can refine our paper. And make sure that your paper is logically organized. And also check the final draft for any spelling and grammatical errors. Nowadays we have more options to check the spelling and grammatical errors. We have more software available nowadays. Make sure that the paper formatting guidelines are followed as specified by the journal before submitting. Which journal you are going to submit, that journal they will give the separate format. For each journal they are having the separate format. So that format should be used while writing the paper. Have others to read your paper to proofread and check for the clarity. So these are the points I want to discuss. Okay, thank you.